They're going back to this earlier scale. Another nice thing about this scale is it has such beautiful harmonies that you can't play a wrong note out of place anywhere, and any note you play always sounds right. And if I pluck any two or any three of these, it harmonizes with each other. Also, the first important chord that we know of, the major chord, 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1, da 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 da, is also inside of that. And a good way to learn to hear major chords is to sing the pentatonic scale and then just skip. And we'll be doing some of that in the next couple of classes, okay, as we do the singing stuff. Now, to get to what we're doing tonight, we use a lot of techniques which are forms of call and response called imitation. So what were we doing that was imitation? Do y'all remember what just happened?
The rhythms?
Yeah, we did rhythms. I would tap something, and you guys would tap something, right? So that was imitation. What else did we use imitation?
Call and response?
Gestures. Thank you. Gestures. We did gesture imitation. Palm dancing is known as mirroring, and that's a specific type of imitation in which the two people are exactly mirror imaged from each other. So when one person is doing something with their right hand, the other person is doing the same thing with their left hand, and you will see right here in my hands, this is the model for that mirror. Our hands are not built like this. They're not built like this. Our hands are built like this. And throughout our entire body, our left side and our right side mirror each other.
Bilateral symmetry.
Yeah, bilateral symmetry.
Also, futures traders use put and calls. Puts and calls.
Right, puts and calls, right. There's a technique in jazz known as give and take, which we'll be working on in the near future. It's a little bit more complicated, but you'll find that 90% of all the compositional tools that we can use to make very simple music beautiful and work are imitation. Now, one thing we didn't try is, in this last jam that we were doing, I gave you something, and you played it over and over, and I gave you something, and I gave each of you something. You imitated me, and then you kept it going. Then I came up to each of you and I said, do your own thing. Jam. I wanted you to have something successful that could cook, that you felt comfortable before you started jamming. I've tried it in the past where I just had people try to jam, and it's just horrible. It's hard for people to synchronize and get in on the beat with each other, get with what's happening. So it take time. So by giving you something to imitate, and then giving you the ability to spontaneously, free associate off of that, you're able to make your own stuff up safely.
We got 6 minutes to teach us to write poetry.
I will. I'll do it. Okay? So,
Anybody can.
imitation, right? Now, we were talking about code words. This is what the first code word looks like. Is this got a lock on it?
Yeah.
So here's the first code word, drum. Now please look at this lexical unit, the symbol, and the word, drum. Whenever you see drum, 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 you will write that down. Drum, okay?
Right, quarter note, yes?
It's a beat.
Yeah, well, if you want to call it a quarter note, you go right ahead there. But I don't think you can teach 2-year-olds fractions. And you can't groove with fractions. This is the other word we used, Tarzan. You'll see that they're tied together, that the stems are tied together. Tarzan, Tarzan. It's 2 syllables in one beat. 2 syllables in one beat. Right? And then the other code word that we used was this one, called alligator. Now you'll notice that alligator has double flags. The way we can tell single flags, the way you can tell a Tarzan from an alligator, besides it being four syllables instead of 2, is this one has a single tie across the top, this one has a double tie. Okay? Now, if you want to be able to dictate rhythm, here's how it goes. All of these things have a stem on them. So watch. If I do this, and I just did this with the blackboard, bum, 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 I've now written that rhythm. All I need to do is tie together those 2 things, little X here. And now what do I have? Drum, Tarzan, Tarzan, drum. Right? Okay, what about this one? What was it?
Alligator,
Tarzan.
Alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, drum.
So watch, I'll make the same sound with the pen. Did you hear it?
Yep.
Okay, so then all I do is this. I just wrote the rhythm, didn't I? Okay. One more time. You ready? One more time.
Tarzan, drum, alligator.
Tarzan, drum, alligator, Tarzan. You got it? All right, I'm going to give you one, and then I want you to write it down. And your homework assignment is to go home and take these whole code words and write up at least 2 rhythm patterns using 4 beats, using those code words that you think cooks, something that you can have some fun with. And bring it back with you next week. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some of this out here. I'm just going to throw out code words and have you write them down. Then we're going to take the rhythms that you wrote and we're going to have other people play them to see if what you wrote, you can hear other people play it. And then we're going to actually use those rhythms in the jams to start jamming with. And we will imitate each other by just simply looking over your shoulder and seeing what you wrote down and copying. We'll cheat. Okay? Got it? Now, here's one for you to write down. Again. What'd you all hear? So if you go boom, 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 tie, tie. Now I use X's because I like to write fast, and you'll see a lot of drum parts are written with X's at the bottom. But if you take the time to make a little circle, it'll look exactly like notes. The only difference. Okay, when I listen, when I go out to a band or I'm listening to a record or I hear something on the radio and I'm hearing ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum-dum, I go ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum-bum, and then I look at it and go, oh, and outline the code words. And then in almost real time, I can write down rhythmically what I'm hearing. If I then think of it again, ba-da-dum, dee-da-da-da-da-dum-bum, I can hear the up and downness and start finding out what pentatonic numbers were. I can then push those notes up and down onto the music staff and write a piece of music. And it's that simple, folks. It shouldn't be any harder than that. So our goal is, I'm going to teach you to hear this pentatonic scale. I'm going to teach you to hear these rhythms and write them down. In future classes, we're going to then take and learn to put them on the staff with numbers, push them around and invent little melodies of our own, and then learn to hear each other's melodies and copy from each other. And then I'm going to show you how to orchestrate that. How to take 4 people and get them to play together as a band and take their rhythms and take the little melodies that they've written and build it up into whole pieces. And try to show you that it starts with the simple little unit, building onto the next unit, onto the next unit. Thank you all for coming tonight. Please put your chairs away.